done this before.
No, I haven't.
Cindy, would you mind standing at the podium and we'll check and see if.
We need to see if you're.
Hi.
Hello,
Well, make sure you get Jonathan.
yeah, well,
Okay.
we have to.
Yeah, Hank, you move because you're
Just
in the way
move
of
out of the way.
Jonathan.
No, I will.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
hang on.
But
Hang on.
I think you'll get him when you. I think you'll get him there. He's right there.
Behind.
Yeah.
That's
That's
I guess
just the way it's going to be.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, and now we sound good. All right. Yay.
Okay, and if this is on now.
Oh, we're live?
We're live.
Good morning to the world. Okay. All right. Am I narrating? No, you are. What do you need? Sure, but I don't want you to have to do that. Okay. Bending's good for you. I don't care. I don't want you to have to bend down. So let's just put it here. There. I've got this there. And then when you're done, just take it with you.
I would do that, but I would like to talk or show this things and
Just don't mess
could I do this then? That could play.
We'll do it in front of you. You want to show this?
Sure. Oh, that's a good one.
Nobody needs to see. You want to just leave it there?
So, show the
Okay.
first product. Lift it up.
Oh,
That's right. And then this. Oh, you're wonderful. Thank you.
there. That'll work, won't it?
You're
You're fine. Breathe. Breathe. Now, there's an interesting thing about being a presenter. It's an interesting thing about being a presenter. If you make yourself really big, okay, make yourself
too.
I know, I'm 5'1", okay. Make yourself really big especially right up in here with your breath. Okay, yes, exactly. Make yourself really big.
I was talking about my boobs.
Yeah, that's good. Whatever works, okay. Make yourself really big, okay. And then when you present yourself really big, okay, your ideas will come forth. Because if you're making yourself really big, you breathed. If you empowered yourself, that's how powerful you are. You cannot see it, but you are. Presenting your power.
Okay.
As opposed to, look at me, as opposed to.
Okay.
Presenting your
Thank
power. There you go.
you.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad you're speaking today. I'm so glad. I'm so happy about that. I brought the book between me. I do this also.
You may, but if it's not like that, that'll fall out. I'm just gonna slip this right in here, so it doesn't fall out, okay?
And then this will be here, and then I'll take it away.
That's fine.
After, when I
Okay.
leave, I'll take the binder with me so it's not in the way.
That's fine. Oh, that's a good idea, actually, because it was okay, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
think I'm organized. You know what, how I was thinking, when I think through the words I have to say, because my brain is so much faster than my mouth can, I actually have to practice speaking it so that I get the right rhythm, which is slower than my brain.
Got it. Just understand.
Up on the top of the chamber at the top of the medallion.
Okay. So,
And that just gives a little more.
so you bring,
Really like
wonderful.
That's all. That's the only difference between what you did and what I've been doing.
Okay. And then
I'll be doing the same thing.
we'll
in
work
10
on setting it up for
minutes.
this
Yeah.
talk back.
And this being plugged in wasn't the first time, but Sarah's
Okay.
made sure it's plugged in.
Yeah, the only thing I plugged in was that.
Okay,
Okay.
that was unplugged before.
That's the only thing I touched.
And then it's a question whether the TV's plugged in or not, but that's later.
Okay. Sounds great.
And
Now, is Kimberly Barrett recording or is she
No,
live?
she's here.
She's here?
She's back there somewhere.
I didn't think she was going to be here. She's here. She's
Here.
I was told she wouldn't be.
She's here. That's her husband standing there.
Oh my God. Oh, did I screw that up? Oh my God. Well, anyway, okay. All right. I'm so glad.
You never get that excited.
What does one say about that? I have no clue. I get to see you every week, and I'm not serving you. There we go.
I know. You know, I watched the number of games this week, and I get very
Yes, that would be nice.
I love it.
Oh, yeah, they lost the whole money team. Yeah.
She was hoping.
yeah, I paid attention. I was just going to ask that question.
Oh, yeah.
We just looked at
Would you like to sit here? Or whichever you're more comfortable with. You'll come up to the lectern here, of course. That would be just fine. Yes. Is there a glass of water right here? Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything else I could get either of you? Did you drive up from Africa? Are you living up there? I did not know that. Or if I knew that, I didn't know that. Well, I grew up in Appleton as well. I grew up in Appleton. Yeah. My family was you probably hear Miller Electric. But my grandfather was the first practical electric engineer. Yes, so and that was my family. Yes, we have deep roots in Africa. I can't tell you, I went back to transfer student as 2000, and I'm so glad I made it so long to go back to college. But the doors it continues to open for me are just amazing. It's just amazing. I will be right back. Scream if you need anything, okay?
Yeah, very much. Yes.
Musical chairs, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So happy to be here. Yeah, that's right.
My name is
Yeah.
No, I watched the game. Like, yes,
I have mine there and
I go to one.
it looks like I just
see, this is your silent.
Oh, I just. Of course, they're water. Yeah, it's, they're out.
Downsized house. I get just as
Well, yeah, I would say.
Just want to check.
That was the first.
Instead of going back to a previous life, just kind of sort of you have to go through the steps. This one, this one.
Thank you, John. That was a beautiful greet. Thank you. And we all love John. He's been playing for us for many years now. He's a junior at Lawrence and hopes to have the next semester in France as besides piano performance, French is his double major. So he will be away from us for several months when he goes there. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to those online. My name is Cindy Steele, and I'm your service leader this morning. Thanks for spending your Sunday morning here, whether in person or virtually. We're so glad that you're here. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Door County is celebrating its 25th year. In these 25 years, we've done some wonderful things. First, we met at Scand in our gathering room, and then we bought our first building. Outgrowing that, in 2008, we moved into this building. A program was established called Conversation Partners, and Meg was very important in that. And it's a program where we assist non-English speakers to learn to converse in English. And then some wonderful people established the Climate Change Coalition that educates of the dangers of global climate change. And add to that, we Welcome All initiative, and the sign is behind our curtain right there. All good work continues, even today, because we are in the midst of our month of Sundays for Ukraine campaign, and it is certainly running strong. We are humbled to report that from the small window of March 20 to March 31, the fellowship community raised $4,691 for the cause heavy on our hearts and minds. And thank you for the outpour of support for our UU global community. Our Month of Sundays for Ukraine campaign started Sunday, March 20, and includes all collections up until April 17, unless otherwise designated, and they will go to the UU Service Committee Relief Fund for Ukraine response. The UU Service Committee is directing emergency relief funds to groups working on the ground to assist Ukraine refugees in Eastern Europe, including Hungarian Helsinki Committee and FemFund based in Poland. Now, again, just to clarify that we will be taking a collection this morning, and if you have cash that is undesignated, it will go to Ukraine. If you have an envelope or a check where it says pledge or UUFDC pledge, then that will credit to your pledge or make a donation to the UUFDC. If it is undesignated, it will go to Ukraine. Thank you. Since we're talking about money, I thought a little story might be appropriate. A Jewish rabbi, a Catholic priest, and a UU minister were discussing how they divide the collection plate between church use and God. The rabbi said that he draws a circle in the middle of the room, stands in the middle of that circle, and throws the money into the air. Now, whatever falls outside the circle goes to the Lord, and what falls inside goes to the church. The priest said that he does something similar. However, he draws a line. And when he throws the money, whatever falls in front of him is for the church, and whatever falls behind him goes to God. Now, the UU minister said that she also used a similar method for dividing up the collection plate. She throws the money into the air, and she figures whatever God wants, God will grab. I'm glad you like that. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Dr. Kimberly Barrett. She is not new to us. It feels very comfortable to see your vibrant face here with us. She's got an enormous CV. Okay, these are a couple of highlights. She's an accomplished diversity professional with significant experience as a consultant and executive working to promote four of my favorite words these days: diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. for businesses, educational institutions, and not-for-profit organizations. With graduate degrees in clinical psychology and higher education, she approaches this critical work with a framework that is evidence-based, strategic, and compassionate. And when she has spoken to us before, I believe that she was on the faculty of Lawrence University from 2016 to 2022 and doing exactly that kind of work. Thank you so much for coming to speak for us again this morning. Now, it is our custom to ask first-time visitors or anyone who hasn't been here for a while to stand and introduce yourselves, if you wish to. Is there anyone in that category? Would you like to introduce yourself? Yes, I have a hand of someone I know very well.
So many people have been saying, Meg, where have you been? We haven't seen you forever. So I just, at the moment, thought, well, I think I'm one of those who have been here for a while.
Welcome back, Meg.
Thank you.
The people at our membership table in the foyer are ready to greet you and answer any of your questions. And I certainly hope you enjoy the service. And please, just a little bit of housekeeping. Would you please silence your cell phones? Thank you. We have announcements now that deal with the business of the fellowship. And and I have Buttons is going to make the first announcement here from the lectern.
We're just gonna move from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am Buttons Wolst. We all eat, and we all have the power to change the world with what we eat. As Alice Walters said, how we eat can change the world. In 1971, Frances Morlap wrote Diet for a Small Planet. Motivated by her outrage, she said, "We feed half the world's grain to livestock, returning only a fraction in meat, while millions starve." Yesterday's concern is today's climate crisis. Reading her 50th anniversary edition is worth your time. The mission of the Plant-Powered Eating Group is to encourage plant-based eating. It is also to educate how it affects the climate crisis, animals, the land, and your own health. This binder is our first project. From time immemorial, church ladies have produced elaborate cookbooks. We thought this was a more inclusive and incremental approach. We hope that you will share your recipes with us. There are a limited number of binders in the gathering room after the service. Additionally, do-it-yourself binder kits are available in the display to make your own binder. And while you are in the gathering room, pick up a pack of granola and the recipe. Barb Campbell donated the binders, and I made the granola. Future recipes will be in Dove Notes via the weekly eBlasts. eBlasts will also let you print copies of your own digitally, or you can get our printed copies in the display. So what are Dove Notes? Over several years, UUA developed a program to discuss ethical eating, that is the production and consumption of the food we eat, and related moral and ethical questions. This program is called DOVE, Demonstrating Our Values Through Eating. Our plant-powered eating program has adopted some of the ideas. Look for your Dove Notes in the eBlasts for tips, facts, recipes, and more. Thank you.
Thank you, Buttons. Yes, now for the rest of the announcements, please remember that we're online. So you might need to offer some discretion in what you're saying, but one never knows. But the mic will be brought to you, so raise your hands if you have an announcement, please.
If you don't have your taxes done, the environmental justice team encourages you to get on it, because you don't want to miss on April 13th, the gathering of the 3 working groups from the environmental group that have been exploring various ways that we can continue to ramp up our reduction of the carbon footprint here at the fellowship. And you just got a sneak preview from one of the working groups in terms of the power plant eating action that they're taking on. We'll be sharing with each other. It'll be a time for you to hear what the others are looking at, and also to ask questions and give your comments. You may have some suggestions that would be really helpful to us. So April 13th, 2:30, check in with Sarah so you can get on the Zoom link. We hope to see you all there. Thank you.
I cleaned up my speech, so anyway, I just wanted to announce, since they moved the big buildings off of my property, what we're trying to do. And because you all may not know, we have eliminated the use of all chemicals, anything like that. We're talking about everything that we're growing is going to be fresh, clean, and we're working on it. It's a long process. I thought, it'll be simple. We'll just do it all in a day. Now, it doesn't happen. It takes years to get things to grow. But we are trying to do some exciting things. And one of them is the possibility of half the property being a vineyard, and it would be organic. So anyway, we've got a lot of fun things. And if anybody has any ideas of things we could do that would be fun, let me know.
There are 2 down here.
I said to Hank, I think it looks like we're back in business. We just hung a show of Joanna Axelrod's work in the gallery, and I hope you'll go in and see it. It's quite inspirational, actually, and very nature affirming.
Thank you.
Wow, I put my ears back together. So I want to remind people that the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations meets in General Assembly the 3rd week of June. UUFDC has 2 delegates allocated to it. If you think you might want to be, get in touch with Sarah. The things that we do as delegates is that we make policy that guides the UUA administration. Items that have come up recently: ethical eating, land acknowledgement statements. One item that is currently in the works is a review of Article 2 of the bylaws. Article 2 is what governs our 7 principles, and that is due for a review. If you're interested in participating, get out to GA. Talk to Sarah if you want to be a delegate.
Where is it? Is it in person or virtual?
Oh, it's actually in person and virtual. You can be either one.
Where is it in person?
Portland, Oregon.
Portland.
Hi, hopefully you all noticed the lovely note cards in the lobby with the design by buttons. And you can see a sample of it up there on the podium. So all the proceeds from that will go to the Ukraine Relief Fund. So I know you all need note cards.
Any other announcements? Raise your hand. Okay, thank you. On the first Sunday of every month, we love to hear a reflection on one of our 7 principles. And Vicki Ash is going to come to the lectern right now to do that for us.
Thank you, Cindy. Your announcement is a little misleading if you're following the service leaflet closely. I am not Valerie. I am Vicki, Valerie. as a group, we're kind of interchangeable, those of us on the task force. We stay real flexible. When it came to talking about the principles, I think many of you know I'm very new to UU. Having been raised by a preacher dad who is also a chaplain in the Army, I have a varied background as far as churches are concerned, but have found a home here that I love. And thank you for welcoming me here. One of the first things you did is give me this little bookmark. And as a good religious kind of person, I thought I probably should memorize this, right? And I kept reading through it, and I'd sit at our Zoom services and I'd read through it again, and I'd think, this is just not working for me. So Sarah asked a group of us to come and decorate for Valentine's Day the bags that the little goodies were going to be put in. And she gave us these to use to decorate the bags. These are stickers that I suspect maybe young people used to get to know the principles. Finally, there was something I could relate to. And the second principle, which is what I'm going to talk about today, it says on here, be kind in all you do. That's pretty easy for me to remember. It's hard for me to do sometimes, but it's easy to remember. Versus on here, where it says, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Well, that's not too difficult, but be kind is more my cup of tea. So that led me to today, and knowing that this group appreciates research and that they like humor and that they like props and deep religious thinking and philosophy, I started doing my research. So the first quote that I came across was from the Dalai Lama. And he said, my religion is very simple. My religion is kindness. Now, another thinker that I really have a lot of respect for, and I'll bet every one of you have read this thinker, has a wonderful poem about kindness. And so I thought, okay, I can relate to this. And in case you can't guess who this thinker is, I've got a little clue for you here. All right. Be kind to the wishers who haven't got wishes. Be kind to the fishers who haven't got fishes. Be kind to beginners who haven't got ends. Be kind to the strangers who haven't got friends. Be kind to the walkers who haven't a shoe. Be kind to the talkers who haven't a clue. Be kind to outsiders and insiders too. Be kind to the kind who are confined to the zoo. Be kind in your mind and all that you do, and you'll find that mankind can be kind to you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Vicki. And now we will begin the service. And I have these as opening words by Leslie Takahashi. We are a bridge. We celebrate our desires to stretch our wings towards where we wish to fly and soar free, and thus we make a bridge. We affirm our commitment to remain connected to those who are still earthbound and captive, remembering that a bridge may be a footprint or an umbrella, and thus we offer a bridge. We acknowledge our own desires and also our interconnections with one another, and thus we build stronger bridges. We honor our own hearts and also the hearts of our neighbors, friends, and fellow inhabitants of this ever-perplexing world. And thus, we are a bridge. Please stand and join me in the unison affirmation, followed by the humming of the doxology, and both are in your order of service. So please say with me, we gather together to seek knowledge and wisdom, to explore freely the vast reaches of mind and spirit, to celebrate within the caring community those truths, ancient and modern, which give meaning and direction to our lives. Thank you, John. Joys and concerns is a time when we might share a joy to celebrate with you or to lighten a burden by bearing that with you. And again, because we are so public, speak about another person online only if you have their permission. And again, the microphone will be brought to you. Are there any joys and concerns?
I've been told this is maybe good luck. I was setting up my computer just this week, and right in front of my eyes, virtually, a bald eagle with something in her mouth, or his mouth, flew right past me, made a left turn into my woods, and so I'm hoping he's nesting there.
That's over here. I saw a bald eagle from my house one day dip into the water and pull up a fish, and you wouldn't imagine the surprised look on the face of the fish.
I have two joys. My first joy, echoing the words of Cindy, I'm just really delighted that John is playing for us today. It's wonderful. I don't know what he's playing. It's all Grieg to me. But my second joy is that in addition to our success in the Ukraine initiative, raising monies, to let you know that this week we will be giving a check for $7,500, just a reminder, to the Food Pantry Coalition of Door County. So that'll make two successive payments of $7,500, the first to the Boys Club, the next one to the Door Community Foundation, which administers the funds for the Door County Food Pantry Coalition. So that's something to be rather joyful about, I think.
Thank you. Any other joys and concerns? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you so much. Now, again, this is the time of the offertory, and any monies not designated will go to Ukraine relief. And also those monies designated will support the congregation. So either way, please be generous. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Al Johnson, and my dear wife Cynthia had a bad night's sleep last night, and so she did not want to get up this morning. Cynthia and I have been members of this wonderful fellowship since the year 2000. It is a centerpiece of our Door County lives. Until about 4 or 5 years ago, Cynthia preached 6 or 8 times a year and taught classes. I wrote many pledge letters, which you generously responded to. Thank you. You made the job relatively easy. As I look back on my life, a significant accomplishment was finding this building and convincing the fellowship to buy it. A significant accomplishment of Cynthia's life was being the inspiration for and chairing the committee that created the Memorial Garden. As we age, we don't have the time and energy to do major volunteering. We now need the fellowship. We need it for community and support. We greatly appreciate the work that it takes to make the fellowship the wonderful place that it is. Every Sunday we have speakers, wonderful music, service leaders, greeters, vergers, and now even refreshments. We have the caring committee, the social justice activities, the book club, the Dickinson Poetry Series, coffee and conversations, circle suppers, and now even the gallery is back. And a big thank you to Sarah and Juliana and our board for holding us all together. The fellowship has survived the COVID crisis. Hooray. Now we are moving into the new normal. The increases in budget are to pay for fairer compensation to our staff and adjust for higher costs. Please be generous when you complete your pledge forms. Thank you very much.
As we center ourselves to prepare for Dr. Barrett's message, The Art of Bridging, let's just take a moment now to set aside any worries or other thoughts that take us away from this place. With a breath, let yourselves be here. And Dr. Kimberly Barrett.
Well, thank you so much, Cindy, for your kind introduction and for that wonderful sort of opening about bridging, how appropriate. So thank you so much. And I'm always so happy to be here with you all. As Cindy mentioned, I've been here several times, and I must say that whenever I enter the doors, I feel like I belong. So thank you for being so welcoming. And I'm here today to talk about something that's very important, but unfortunately, I feel it's fallen out of fashion. I think we're losing a very important art, and that's the art of bridging. Now, there's a lot of science about ways to effectively communicate across our cultural and political differences being done by psychologists, sociologists, neuroscientists, and others. But to me, I like to think of it as a science because I think that the roots of bridging and being an effective bridge builder are really within all of us. You know, it simply takes a bit of courage, some humility, really some compassion, and some kind curiosity about other folks. And when I talk about bridging, what is it that I'm really talking about? In this context, it's about making meaningful connections with an individual or group that you believe to be different from yourself in some significant way for a common good. And that common good could be a shared purpose that's as simple as learning more about diversity, or it can be something more long-term and complex, like addressing some of our significant social issues, like some things you brought up in terms of environmental issues, or a political dilemma that we face together. So it can be a variety of things that we're bridging around. First and foremost, though, bridging is about understanding. I can't emphasize this enough. It's not about persuasion or conversion. It's really about getting to know the other person. And for that reason, it's not without risk. You know, when you bridge, you risk rejection, you risk experiencing strong emotions, and you also risk being changed. You know, the person or people whom you want to bridge with might decide they don't want to connect with you. In the course of connecting with them, you might hear something that makes you sad or angry, those sort of strong emotions. And although this isn't about persuasion, you might actually change your beliefs and thinking through the process of bridging. So all of these things are a risk for us when we bridge. So it really needs to be a deliberate choice. Your choice. You should not attempt to bridge if you feel coerced, of course, or if you're in a situation where you're in danger of being physically harmed or experiencing significant emotional distress, or if your actions would support someone actively harming others. Now, I must be clear here, the danger and harm I'm talking about is not psychological discomfort, because discomfort is often a sign that bridging is working, right? You know, it's all about stepping out of our comfort zones and being okay with that. It's a prerequisite for this type of work. For most of us, most of the time, bridging is what we need to do. However, there are times when you should choose not to. Bridging is ultimately about coming to understand our common humanity with folks that we have othered or who have perhaps othered us. That will definitely be uncomfortable, but it should not be dangerous. So what are the skills we need to develop bridging? In addition to the obvious interpersonal skills needed to connect with another person, there's also a significant amount of internal work that we need to do first or while we're considering bridging. So what I'd like to do is to take a moment to practice a technique that I think will help you get in the right mindset to be a bridge builder. And I'll need your participation for this. So if you're able to, I'm going to give you some instructions and I want you to follow those. So close your eyes and sitting comfortably in an upright position, put both feet on the floor. Begin to bring your awareness inward. Take a couple of deep breaths and let them out slowly. Now, breathing normally, turn your attention to your breath. With each out breath, relax your body, beginning with your face, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your chest, your stomach, your legs, all the way down to your feet. Now think of someone you love. It can be a friend, a family member, or a romantic partner. Picture them standing at your side with their hand on your shoulder. That person is sending you wishes for your well-being, health, and happiness. Feel the warmth and caring coming to you from that person. Send the love you feel back to them by silently repeating the following phrases. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, may you be safe, may you be free from pain. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, may you be safe, may you be free from pain. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, may you be safe, may you be free from pain. Now imagine that you are surrounded by people who you have loved and who have loved you. Take a moment to bask in the emotional warmth of the love and kindness that surrounds you. Now, keeping your eyes closed, bring your mind back to this place and imagine the people in this room with you, both the individuals you know well and the ones whom you are only casually acquainted with. These people are like you. They wish to be happy. Send love and warm wishes to them by silently repeating the following phrases. Just as I wish to. May you live with ease. May you be safe. May you be free from pain. Just as I wish to. May you live with ease. May you be safe. May you be free from pain. Just as I wish to. May you live with ease. May you be safe. And may you be free from pain. Now picture a person with whom you have conflict, or even someone you might dislike. That person and you are alike. Just like you, they wish to be happy. Share loving kindness with that person by silently repeating the following phrases. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, may you be safe, may you be free from pain. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, may you be safe, may you be free from pain. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, may you be safe, may you be free from pain. Now expand your awareness to the entire planet. Picture a globe filled with all the living things on Earth. Particularly consider those who are suffering. Send compassionate wishes to all sentient beings around the world who, like you, want to be happy by silently repeating the following. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, may you be safe, may you be free from pain. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, may you be safe, may you be free from pain. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease, may you be safe, may you be free from pain. Now bring your attention back to your breath. Put your hands on your heart. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Notice how you feel in this moment. When you're ready, open your eyes. Now, you all began your practice with a moment of mindfulness. And so I'm sure that many of you practice meditation or other mindfulness techniques. And this, I think, is a foundational piece of having the mindset to be able to engage in the difficult work of bridging. It helps you stay in the moment. It helps you suspend judgment. And it really helps me in this work to be able to respond thoughtfully rather than react in ways that are conditioned, sort of knee-jerk, ways that are either conditioned by past experience or have to do with fears of the future. And so I think focusing on mindfulness is critical to let you have the state of mind to be able to bridge, successfully. Another type of internal work we must undertake to bridge effectively is addressing our implicit bias. Implicit biases, as you know, are stereotypes that affect our decisions and other behavior that are activated involuntarily without our awareness and internal control. They result from associations that develop early in our lives that really are activated by the parts of our brains that are responsible for fight or flight, fear, and anger. Because these associations are automatic, mindfulness can help us slow down enough so that we can take the time to understand why we are feeling the way we do and choose to respond differently. But before you can mitigate bias, you really have to acknowledge it. And there are a number of ways you can do this. Certainly from frank conversations with family and friends, and personal reflection, but there's also some online inventories, which you all might be aware of. They're called Project Implicit, that are online, that are free, and address a number of areas that in our society we have bias about, whether it's weight, age, race, gender, sexual orientation, a number of things. You can get those online and see what kinds of negative associations or biases you have with different groups. So the first step in mitigating implicit bias as part of getting ready to bridge is really identifying it. Once you've identified what your biases are, and we all have them, right? So we all have them. Then there are 5 evidence-based strategies to reduce and eliminate implicit bias. They are stereotype replacement, counter-stereotypic imaging, individuation, perspective taking, and increased contact. And those are fancy words for really simple techniques that you can implement every day. For example, stereotype replacement is really about if you have a action that you take that is based on a stereotype you have of a group. For example, if you're getting into an elevator and you see someone that you assume is, let's say, a male of African American descent, and you automatically clutch your purse. Once you recognize you're doing this, you can substitute a different behavior. Something as simple as not clutching your purse and saying hello instead. Or if you're driving through some place and you lock your door or put your window up, there might be some other activities that you can do instead of the stereotype behavior. And then in terms of counter stereotype imaging, again, a very simple technique, but very effective. These are the 5 things that the social science literature says can, if you practice them, can help you form new habits. If you have a stereotype, let's say about women not being able to do science, if you on your screensaver put a famous woman scientist on your screensaver and you see that every day, you're reminded of that and your brain begins to form new associations. At the university, we wanted to make sure that our students saw pictures of folks who were diverse. So in the hallways, in our examples that we use, we wanted to make sure that we countered stereotypes by using diverse examples, particularly in disciplines and professions where folks were underrepresented. Individuation is about taking steps so that you don't look at a person as a group when you see them, but you begin to wonder about them as an individual. And again, the research on this sounds unbelievably simple, but what you can do is when you see someone that you might have a stereotype about, let's say Mexican American immigrants, what you can do is instead of thinking of them with those labels, consider things like, and this is a really funny example, but this is what was used in the research. What kind of vegetable do they prefer? Are they a morning person or, a night owl? What kinds of pets do they like? And these are all questions that move us away from the groups about which we are biased and begin to help us consider them as individuals. And again, in the research, they used what kind of vegetables do people like? And that was very effective in helping people see a person as an individual rather than as a member of these stereotyped groups. Perspective taking is something that, we always talk about, but how often do we really sort of use our imaginations to put ourselves in the shoes of another person? And perspective taking is really about just that, sort of using your imagination to think about what this person might be experiencing in this moment, this other person. What might a day in the life of this person be like? Or even something that I think we've all had experience with is if you were to be in a debate with them, to make the case for their side. I mean, that's one way to really, consider and understand where they're coming from. Don't have to agree with it, but just increase your understanding, your deep understanding of their perspectives. And many of us have had to do this in classes, but it's a great way of practicing perspective taking. And then the last way, which is, it seems like a no-brainer, increase your contact with individuals from the groups about which you have biases. It's amazing how people forget how potent that can be. It gives you more opportunities to have a positive impact with that person. It also can influence the people around you. If a family member has a friendship or a close relationship with a group that is discriminated against, has people have stereotypes about, the other people in their family regard them more positively just by knowing that their family member or close relation has a relationship with them. So your increased contact with somebody else can actually influence other people and decrease their bias against particular groups. So that's another way, things at our disposal every day to help decrease our bias and the bias of other folks. And so once you've begun your inner work, you can turn your attention to those all-important interpersonal skills required to bridge. From my perspective, this is really about compassionate communication. It's about both compassionate listening and compassionate speaking. And why focus on compassion? Well, it's one of your principles. It's in one of your principles. But also, if you look at the Latin roots, compassion really means to suffer together. And bridging is all about understanding one another in order to help alleviate the distress both of us are experiencing due to our inability to connect and see our common humanity. We are biologically wired for compassion, and when we aren't able to give and receive it, we suffer. So being able to develop an empathetic understanding of another's suffering and then being able to work with them to relieve that suffering is critical to the process of bridging and, in fact, to our own sense of well-being. Often when we think about effective communication, we really just focus on getting our message across, right? How successful are we in getting people to understand us? But bridging is really about understanding the other person. So that requires that we are authentic so that we can build trust. It also requires that we're patient, and that for me is probably the thing I struggle with the most. I want instant results. I want people to be together and loving each other and all this, but it takes patience. And it also needs to focus on not taking things personally. When I think about slowing down with mindfulness, what it does is helps me focus on the moment and understand that it's not about me, it's about that other person, and it's not about judging, it's just about experiencing. And so really focusing on assuming goodwill, having that sort of, clear-eyed optimism and assume goodwill, and then take the time to build a trusting relationship with that person and not take things personal. Marshall Rosenberg provides a model for practicing compassionate communication in his book, Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life. The process laid out by his model has 4 components. It includes observation, feeling, needs, and request. And this provides a roadmap for meeting everyone's need, at least in terms of this interpersonal interaction. And for me, when I think about inclusion, probably the most important thing and the most significant dilemma we have in our world today, whether it's, war, the environment, social justice, is how do we meet people's needs across our differences? And his model provides us a way of doing this in our individual interpersonal interactions. And his model is based on the assumption that people are all compassionate by nature and that violent strategies are learned and reinforced by the prevailing culture. So we're compassionate, and I agree with that. Biologically it's baked into us. And then we learn different ways of being with each other. Let's focus on a moment on compassionate listening. This type of listening requires that we demonstrate interest in what the other person is saying by, attentive body language, and you all are doing a great job of that today. Asking questions, remembering the focus is on the other person. And the practice always also requires that we avoid judging what is being said as good or bad, and just accept it as the person's perspective. In order to do this, we must monitor our own emotions, again, not judging them, just gently acknowledging and thinking about what we're experiencing. And finally, it helps me to sort of reflect back what somebody is saying, because it keeps me honest about paying attention. Most of us, when we're listening to somebody, we're thinking 2 steps ahead about what we're going to say back. And so reflective listening really forces you to focus on what they're saying, so you can sort of reflect back and say, am I hearing you correctly? Is this what you're saying? And so every once in a while checking in, so that you make sure that you're listening. So, and then finally, there is a focus that we need to have that really, I think, is a good segue into compassionate speaking. And that is a saying by a Sufi saying from the 13th century by mystic and poet Rumi. Before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And in keeping with these 3 gates, compassionate speaking requires us to be authentic and caring, which means on some level we must be willing to be vulnerable. That's where that courage comes in. To speak with compassion, we must strive to choose our words thoughtfully and employ what some call transformational language, words that promote our well-being and the well-being of others by avoiding catastrophizing, overgeneralizations, and sweeping statements when describing our feelings. How often do we say, oh, that must have been awful. How could you have, dealt with that? Rather than sort of acknowledging that it's difficult and really reinforcing the person's resilience in dealing with it. So using this transformational language to focus on promoting our well-being and the well-being of others. All of these skills make us effective bridge builders. Mindfulness, anti-bias work, and compassionate communications. And they all develop through practice and self-reflection. All of this stuff sounds good, but how many of us make an intentional practice of doing these things every day? We can't really develop these skills unless we practice them. At first, it might feel awkward, but an awkward connection is better than none at all. And remember, we are made for this. We are social animals, both biologically and spiritually. And while the benefits of bridging are many in terms of our health and our society, our politics, the cost of inaction and not bridging will actually be catastrophic. So finally, I would say if you want more detailed information about bridging, the Greater Good Science Center, part of UC Berkeley, has a guide online that you can download for free called Bridging Differences Playbook. You can also check out the Center for Nonviolent Communications in their website. However, from what I know about this group, you all are already bridge builders. I hope that what I've shared will help you become even more skilled as you travel this path. And I really look forward to the talk back later on. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kimberly, for those wonderful thoughts. And again, all of you, thank you for attending. Our coffee hour has resumed, so enjoy some socializing in the gathering room. Isn't it wonderful to be together again? And look at the numbers of people in this room. You don't see it online, but there are a lot of us here. It's wonderful. Gather back here by 11:15 and for a Zoom conversation with Dr. Barrett. And for those online, you can log into the link that was sent in the e-blast, and you will then be taken to the right Zoom room. Okay, and again, that room should open up at about 11, and then we'll start at about 11:15. For closing words, I have William E. Gardner. We all have two religions, the religion we talk about and the religion we live. It is our task to make the difference between the two as small as possible. This was a service. Goodness, it feels like we're back. This is the length of time a usual service would take. We started back in July, but everything was abbreviated. So maybe 35 or 40 minutes. And now, now we have every bit back. Wow. So you're taking care of this? Thank you. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Log it off.
Oh,
Center.
Hank, do we have to turn the chairs around?
Yeah, we should.
Okay, to what direction?
I think if we just do a circle around here.
In a circle around
Yeah,
here, and then the TV will
Yeah,
just be where
and
it is.
we'll aim this thing to
Got
focus
it,
on
okay.
Kimberly. Okay.